Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Governor here. I'm making a StarCraft 2 video, which is something I've never done before. I've recently started playing the game, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Um, and this is a build that I've been basically using every single game, with the exception of any time I'm against Zerg, which is more than I would like it to be, because I have a ton of success with this build. I think I have a 85% win rate over 30 games around. Um, versus Terran, and around a 70% win rate with less than that, but not a huge amount less. Versus Protoss, and I have about a 25% win rate versus Zerg. But anyhow, so this build is a Roach Ravager Ling push, timing push, I guess. I mean, there's nothing you're really timing it on. It's not like you're waiting for upgrades. It's just okay. Let's call it what it is. It's an all-in basically, but it actually can be transitioned out of. So let's get into the build. Player camera. So basically, what we're doing in the early game is just standard stuff. At 16, I think 17, 16, we go for a hatchery down on the natural, and then hold on, my cat is get off. Come on, no Misha, go on. Anyhow, sorry about that. So you standard stuff, 13 overlord, 17 hatchery, and then so I guess we'll wait. We'll wait a little bit and commentate that when it happens. But yeah, the goal of this build basically is to just have so many relatively cheap units in the early game that you just kind of overwhelm your opponent. You don't really need to do a lot of scouting because it works versus basically every build that the Terran opponent could go for. Against Protoss, it's a little bit more difficult because if they go Sky Toss, if they have even okay micro, they're basically going to straight up just win because you don't have any way to deal with it. A little trick I like to do, I don't know if this is a common thing, I don't really see it mentioned anywhere, is I like to make a control group of 3 drones after I make my extractor, and I just send them in whenever it's ready, just so I don't have to individually target 3. So yeah, go for the spawning pool there at 17 supply. And then you want to drone here until 19, and then make an overlord. So the things you want to focus on in the early game is just like you can get an overlord around the Terran base to see if he's getting really greedy, because maybe you can, like, if he's building, for some reason building a third base or something, then you can basically just walk into his base and win the game. I've seen that happen. That's why I say that it shouldn't happen, but I have seen it happen. So yeah, so that's something to be aware of, I guess. You just toss an overlord over there, see what's going on. You don't need to scout too far, and you don't really want to lose your overlord ideally. So yeah, I just send them on a little peek to see if they have another base, and then send them off. Once you're once you have a second hatchery and spawning pool finished, you want to start Ling speed as well as 2 queens on each base, or 1 queen on each base. Sorry, 2 queens, 1 on each base. And then start 3 lings, and then go straight into droning until 31. Once you hit 31 drones, you want to then make a Roach Warren. Because almost always they're gonna have a Reaper coming out. So you just wanna. I mess this up, but what I'm trying to do here is get a little surround. You see me like pathing over it, and then I path in too early. I could have easily gotten that surround. So yeah, right around now I want to go for a Roach Warren. Put my injects, get my queens, keybound up. Try to bait him on creep, and then I realized, he can see me through over that. I'm too used to playing like games with line of sight. But yeah, so I actually ended up losing 2 Zerglings here, which is probably not the best. But yeah, at this stage you want to be microing your Zerglings to try and take that guy out. Sorry, let me get rid of that. Sorry about that. But mostly you want to just be focusing on making sure that you're getting your hitting your injections. Once you finish or start your Roach Run, rather, you want to have start 3 overlords. And around that time, your Ling speed is gonna finish. Whenever your Roach Run finishes, your Ling speed is gonna finish. And then you want to go for 5 roaches, and then Lings until 20 or 57. 57 supply. So here I'm just kind of scouting. Like at this point, you can use those Lings they just look like scouting links, and I mean they are kind of. So you just kind of like look around, make sure there's no like proxies or anything. I was looking for that Reaper, just wondering where he was. So this is a really good spot, like to send your army, with this build because they're not really gonna check there, and if they're already there, then you can take them out with those few lings, as the rest come. So once you get those lings starting, like once all the lings start flowing, you want to have a rally point at somewhere near the enemy base that you can safely assume that you're not going to be seen. Because if they then start, like making a bunch of things that you can't get through, it becomes really not too good. So at this point, we have so many lings, you easily surround this. There's no SCVs, you're not ready, and basically, when he sends those back, you win the game. Like, okay, he can put this up, and then just take out both the supply depots. Possibly, probably not, but possibly supply block him. We did kind of supply block him, but then we're taking out his units. So, yeah, and it's just GG. There's not a lot he can do past that. It's really, really hard to deal with as a Terran player, and as Protoss, it's a little bit more difficult, or a little bit easier, but it requires more micro from you. And against Zerg, that you basically just fall over because he can build he builds banelings, and then if you don't like perfectly micro, then you're just gonna lose all your Zerglings to his banelings, and then you're gonna lose the game. But yeah, as a against Protoss, you want to try and maybe get a 4th Ravager, and if you do that, then you can actually one-shot the mothership core with 4 biles. Versus if you're against Terran, you don't really need the biles, but it's just nice when whenever he starts making siege tanks and stuff like that, that you can reliably shoot them. You can also opt in to send an overlord if you're having trouble getting high ground vision. But other than that, that's basically it. That's the build. You can transition out of it by just running what's it called? Instead of constant Zergling production like I'm doing, you can just start going back into drones, and he'll have taken a pretty decent economical hit. But honestly, if you do this, you're probably going to win the game anyway, so you can just go straight to Zerglings. So I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and maybe I'll make some more guides if I find other useful information. I've been Governor. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.